Welcome back. You're listening to Rally DNA, which at the time of recording is the number one ranked automotive podcast on the Apple charts in Ireland. So thank you to all our listeners for the continued support. We're eternally grateful. And hopefully by the time this episode comes out, we're still somewhere in that ballpark. I'm Killian Cronin and joined as ever by my partner in podcasting crime, the Gravel Cruise, Jamie Arkle.
Hello, Killian. Hello, everyone.
This week, we are returning to the best Impreza 555 continuation car, and joining us to have a deeper look at the car and its origins is the driving force behind the programme, Carlo Baroli. Welcome, Carlo, and delighted to have you with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks for talking to me and giving me the chance to talk more about my passion, about the car and everything else.
Thank you so much. No, we like a bit of passion and plenty deep chats here.
I don't know from where to start, when you feel your passion in the deep DNA, okay, it's difficult to say, because if you go by memories, okay, you can spot on something, but it's not exactly that. It's a way of life where actually you think about that thing every day, not every second, but almost, by sure every day and every night. And you wake up in the morning with new ideas, and you go to bed thinking to the next one. But basically, if I have to think from where my rally passion, from a chemical point of view, comes from, my grandpa used to race against Enzo Ferrari in the Coupe of the Alpi, the Alps Cup in 1926 on a Lancia Bilambda, and Mr. Enzo Ferrari was on Alfa Romeo. And they were struggling within 1,500 kilometers all around the Alps on gravel. Okay, so
Wow.
From a chemical point of view, it could be that. And if I go back to my rally passion, I have to think about an event when I was 5 years old in '76. When I was with my family in the car. We were on a highway between Milan and Turin, and we had a grooming car coming from the back. It was so noisy, and it was Lancia Stratos Group 4. And I asked my father, what car is that? He said, that's a Lancia Stratos Group 4. And it was like a tattoo, okay, And from then on, my father was a Formula One photographer by passion, okay, just to have the passes to go everywhere and see and watch the Formula One in the '70s. Then he gave up. And Autosprint, which is your Autosport, was always on our table every week. So, either it was track racing or rally. Rally, it was the most close to me, because I live on the Lake Maggiore, and the Lake Maggiore we have at least 3 rallies, okay, regional or national. And every year, three times per year, I have the rally cars coming. Underneath my almost my house. Okay. Subaru. Subaru it's amazing because it's Japanese, and when we had the Lancia here from let's say '82 to '92, it was really big. 10 full years of Lancia, from the 037 to the S4 to the 8 valves, to the Integrale 16 valves, and the Deltone. Last Carlo Sainz is driving it in '91. And then we had like a small truck called the Subaru Legacy, okay, which was half pink and half white, driven by Mr. Pierro Liatti, which started to beat all the Lancias. And we were like, it's impossible. It was possible. It was possible. And then we were very, there were a lot of fans really ready to follow up on a new myth, and looking for a new myth in terms of driving, because Mikel Biasion was giving up almost his career in Lancia. Then he went to Ford, but the big thing was within Lancia. And also about the car. Everybody understood that the Lancia Delta was over. Okay, when Abarth retired from rallies in '91, and they went into '92 with a satellite team. So I think the do you say the witness of the victories and the witness of being the rally myth was left by the Lancia, open to the newcomer, and the newcomer was by fact the Subaru Impreza, because of two things. First of all, there was a team of driver putting together the ability and the spectacularity of Colin, the professionality of Carlo Sainz, and we had in Italy Pierro Liatti, which was a really good representative and a really good driver, not only on tarmac, as most people say, but also on gravel. I mean, he left the position in gravel several times to his teammates, mostly in the Asian Pacific area and so on. So this is it. And of course, at that time, the myth of the Subaru Impreza, okay, was exactly this one, okay, grew up among all the fans, all the Lancia fans. I would say there is nobody that said, well, no, I go for the Lancia and Subaru is no. It was a continuation passion from one to the other one. Also because the Subaru had two characteristics that made it unique: the noise, okay, let's say three: the noise, the best drivers. Okay, not saying that Tommy Makian was less, but he was driving an Evo, which was much more normal. Okay, even if he won 5 championships. Okay, and also when he was driving a Group A against the WRCs in '97. Okay, and then it was a car with a normal shape that you could go to the supermarket, okay, to buy food. Okay, and this was the opposite of the Lancia, which was, very muscle. And then because it was starting to win. So for a reason, actually. I perfectly remember Sanremo 90 and Sanremo 95 95 when Colin, I was with my brothers at the side of the road of San Romolo on top of a hill, okay, and it was beautiful because you could see uphill, okay, like 2-3 kilometers, and then they were going on a crest and going down on the other side, and then after 2 hours, the same special stages was made opposite way, okay, so you had them in front of you and coming down, and we were out, we thought to be safe on the side, okay, internal side of a turn, and Colin arrived exactly with his front of the car on the opposite way of the turn, and we were like this, like looking at him in his eyes, and he was just calm, making this and putting the car in the other way, and we were just incredibly astonished. Couple of years after, we at that time we had VHS cassette, okay, and I had a subscription to Solo Rally, which was a collectible, and we saw ourselves in that position because there was a camera there, and I lost it, I have to say, and I'm still looking for it. So I don't think that the English public knows about Solo Rally, but I've already spread out my question to the Italian fans to see if somebody has one and have to duplicate that.
So you're immortalized forever in some period footage from the Sanremo Rally.
Yeah, as long as I find it, yes.
Well, hopefully someone turns up with it. There must be a copy somewhere.
VHS Rallies, if you're listening.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the VHS Rallies would be the guy to talk to there, surely, wouldn't it? Are you familiar with the VHS Rallies YouTube channel?
No.
Yeah, look that up because he's putting in a lot of work preserving old footage, and if he doesn't have it, he might be of some assistance. I don't know if he listens to this.
I will.
Clear your afternoon first, though, otherwise you'll be sucked down a rabbit warren and you won't be getting anything else done that isn't watching old 90s rally clips. It's a wonderful way of spending an evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got some great content. It's very interesting what you say, Carlo, how this kind of the Lancia fan base seemed to almost migrate directly over to Subaru. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Without the centers as well.
At that time, the whole Abarth, I mean, most of the people felt that the Abarth was betraying the fans, the drivers, and Fiat was betraying Abarth, the Lancia, the fans, and so on. They gave notice of going out of the competitions in one day with no explanations. They left Carlo Sainz in the middle of the development of the Lancia Deltona, and they went just out of the rally business, which was unbelievable for everybody. So let me say that we really welcomed the Evos in Group N and the Subarus in Group A. This is what happened. Mm-hmm. And then on a minority part, the Toyota Celica and all the different generations had fans more on the driver side than the car, let's say.
Could you hazard a guess as to why that was the case? Why was the Impreza so universally popular amongst Italian rally fans compared to a Celica?
First of all, because the road car was cheaper, much cheaper, mm-hmm. much cheaper, and secondly was more user friendly. 4 doors. It was a sedan car instead of being a coupe. Mm-hmm. It was lighter. The road car was lighter, was easier to drive, and more fun to drive. Definitely, because it was. And the Boxer engine anyway, with the even in stock, is an incredible engine. I repeat, is an incredible engine.
You have to be careful here because Jamie does have a Celica, so
you should have told me that before.
I know that it was much more fun to watch his face like that.
Even I'll admit that the Subaru sounds better,
but I know that the Celica with the right brakes, the right turbo, the right ECU, you have to change the car.
Mm-hmm. I mean, put it this way: when I was back in the day, I was a McRae fan. So don't worry about back at the time. I was on the same hymn sheet as you.
Okay.
So with all this, a fairly impressive heritage of motorsport in your family and a great exposure to, Group 4 Stratoses and spectating San Remo in the mid-90s. It seems like you were pretty destined to be getting into a rally car yourself, to give it a go, and you did.
Yes, I did in 2 ways, in 2 different scenarios. The first scenario was when I was 21 years old, and my first goal was to jump on a rally car and make a rally, no matter with what. I had to do it. So with schoolmate in the last year at. Before graduation, okay, so we were 18 years old. We made the license and we bought into a Renault 5 GT Turbo, okay, which was a truck car, okay. And we went to our mechanic and say, okay, we want to rally with this. He was like, what? So we did it. We spent 1,500 euros. 1.5 million, which was actually 750 euros of today. And we just put those things that we with which we've been able to pass the previous inspections, okay, from the officers, and we went straight for it with truck tires, which never got warm after 25 kilometers of stages. But for us, it was important to be there. And this is one thing. Another thing is I had another friend who still is a Vauxhall dealer here. And so we found a Nova, the Corsa B, which is the Nova B 16 valves, and we made it in Group A. And we started racing quite hard. in the Italian Opel Trophy, and we ended up fifth overall, which was nice, with this tiny metal box. And if I think all the, fast downhill that we made with that in that small tiny metal box, I wouldn't do that again. probably. And so while the dream was the Super Impreza, we were already on tarmac roads and sometimes on gravel roads with the Corsa B 16 valves. Then what happened? I came to the UK. I came to the UK to work as a first stage, as a stagiaire, and at that time I sent out my CV to David Richard in ProDrive. I was just ending the university with a specialization in marketing, and ProDrive was really building up the company. And so I sent my CV there, and I got a reply in 2 or 3 days, and I was quite surprised by that, saying that there was no position for me as a junior marketing, whatever. And I also told them, wrote them, I own a Subaru. And I made a promise to myself that one day I would have competed on a Subaru Group A in some way. So from then on, I worked hard. I've been very lucky to be quite a successful entrepreneur. And finally, I've been able to buy an Impreza Group A from Ireland, and brought it to Italy. And in Italy, I'm quite lucky because just 5 kilometers from my house on the Lake Maggiore, there was the Subaru Rally Italy. Okay, and the people that used to work there, father and son, are still there, and they run a workshop. Okay, specialized only on Group A's and WRC's Subaru. So I went to them and we fully restored it, and there was an ex-works Collins car 93 rack, and then was brought to Italy and became a Pierro Liatti car. Okay, and then went back to the UK, and then finally back to Italy. And I started to rally with that car, making some nationals here, and until the shell was bending everywhere, and there was rust, and I really had to rebuild part of the shell. But in these 10 years, we made a couple of scratches as well. But in these 10 years, I understood 2 things. First of all, that people were going crazy hearing again the Subaru Boxster Group A, and looking at a car that was driven like an M3, okay, and getting out of the turns sideways with the front traction as well. So you could play with that. So people were really happy to see that. One thing. The second thing is that after each rally, I had several pieces that were just broken or blown up, or at a millimeter to break again. And every time I changed everything, and then there was no matter of getting everything safe, because if you had changed the piece 1, 2, and 3, then piece 4 was going to break, because the car at the end had 30 years, almost 30 years, and maybe 300 rallies on the shoulders. And one piece which became very delicate was the gearbox made in magnesium. Magnesium, it has a I don't know how you say English exactly, but it comes porous. The material loses its structure in the metal.
Yes.
Yeah, porous. Okay, like the rims, for example, they lose the pressure after 20 years. And if you remember the magnesium rims of the Alfa Romeo Giulia GTA, okay, with all the holes around. I mean, they're all in aluminum right now, because the one in magnesium, they lose the pressure of if they are the original ones. So I understood that there was something to do, and my choice was one, option A, to leave the car in a museum. Option B, doing something else. And in all these years, I matured the knowledge of the different suppliers that I used to buy the pieces from, or I built the pieces by myself. And this gave me the opportunity of putting together the knowledge of starting with a crazy idea to make a new group A from scratch.
And it does sound crazy, to me.
Yes.
When approximately was it that you decided to set about this?
It was almost 4 years ago, 3.5 years, between 3.5 years and 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was the moment when I really understood that I could have used my original car just once a year, and at that point I saw the enthusiasm of the rally drivers of my age that were slightly going into the historic, which in Italy are completely divided in two different rallies. I mean, there's no mix like in France and so on. So you have historic rally, you have modern rally. Now they are trying to put together the two events in one. And yeah, that was the moment. That was my moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite an impressive time frame, actually, to go from 3.5 years ago to the cars, ready and having magazine articles written and being driven and tested, considering we've had COVID and everything in between. Or did that actually even help in some ways that you maybe had more time to dedicate to it?
Saying this, yes. Because on one side, there is a lot of engineering investment and work, and COVID didn't stop the process of engineering. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So when COVID finished, we were already ready with most of the parts, and what we missed was the latest part of it, the implementation of the softwares and the use of the hardware and the electronic part and so on. So let's say that COVID didn't stop us, put it in this way. Yeah.
So when you did start down this road, what was the original intention? Did you always have, did you start this idea as making a new one for yourself and then it evolved from there? Or what was the original intention with the whole program?
Yeah. Two main starting points. First of all, I don't like to spend money just because I want to spend the money, but I like more investing the money. Secondly, I want to do something that was going to be special in some way. So not just a replica, but it should have been a continuation car, precisely. And giving an added value to the project, because in my mind, the project couldn't be alone, and the natural link of this project, which was bringing back to life a legend like the Impreza, it was and it is to link it to Colin McRae and the McRae family, making two legends alive. It was a challenge. It was a challenge because I had some contact with the McRae family through the Rally Legend organizer, Vito Pieroli, and through him I started to talk with them and explain about the project. And then I went to Lanark, and we spent a beautiful day. And they understood that the project was really brought with passion. Okay, it was not starting from a business idea, exploiting everything, but it was made by passion, and also explaining that I was there to say that it was the moment also to bring back to life a memory with which the new generation and the new fans could understand better the McRae legacy. Also having, I mean, Max McRae today is a huge promise in the rally world, and all the things put together made a win-win situation for everybody, and that's it, which is unbelievable. If I go back to 2 years, for me it was just a dream, you know, and the importance for me, as I say, is to make the things at my best. But the best is yet to come, because I always want to improve. I don't want to stop once I reach an objective, a target or a goal that I said before. Okay, and these were the main reasons why. And talking about the car, I wanted to do something different, something special, and something technologically advanced where it was possible and allowed by the Group A rule. Okay, where it was allowed by the Group A rule, because the electronics, the electrical system, the softwares, the dampers, and so on. And this made, together with the fact that the car is brand new in every single detail, from I mean, down to every nut and bolt, as you say, at the end makes a huge difference from my car, for example, which is very well maintained. I would say. I mean, I couldn't do better than what I'm doing on my car, my original car.
And I've seen that car up close at Rally Legend twice, and it is, you know, to be fair, it doesn't show its age, so that's it's quite a statement, and to improve on that.
Yeah. As you say, at the end, when you drive the two cars, the best Impreza is at least 1.5 seconds faster than per kilometer, and which is amazing, you know, which is amazing. I experimented with my rivals in Rally Legend against the 037, against the other cars, and I stood in front of them. Okay, so I was faster, and which was already, I mean, making me happy. Only when Ken Block with his Astro prototype came over, okay, we lost, and we finished second and third 2 years in a row, and that was, I mean, it was okay. When Pierro jumped on the car after we spent several test runs in finding a good standard setup, which to me has to be that setup that doesn't give you any surprise when you brake, even turning. It's quite neutral, and you don't have to drive flat out or in full brake on full brakes. Yeah, exactly. Pierro just jumped out the car and say, "Oh my God," and he was smiling like this. "What did you do?" But Pierro, you are trying the car and now you have to make it better. For me, it's fine. Just maybe with the bars, we have to play a little bit with the bars. It's unbelievable. If we had something similar to this at that time, when we were struggling to find 1/10 of a second, hypothetically, on some special Pirellis for that particular rally, and we were happy when we went home. And then at the rally, it was not like that, but it was, I mean, like without having made the test. And he was so happy, and so he had a really fun.
I mean, for you, that must have been like all your Christmases came at once, because your passion for obviously Subarus and rallying is clear for all to see. You're clearly one of us, and so to have someone like Pierro Liatti, you know, saying how wonderful the car you've built is, I mean, that must have been indescribably brilliant.
Yeah. With him, we share the choice. I mean, most of the choices since the beginning. And when I was telling him, what if we do this and we do that? Say, no, go this way because I remember this was a weak point of the car. Okay. And mostly on the differentials and the managing of center diff and the front diff. And he pushed us to go on the Riger suspensions, which makes a big difference, not just them, but them with other modifications. And yes, you're right. It was 3 times Christmas in one day. Yeah.
And how did Piero become involved in the project? You know, you obviously reached out to him. Was it tricky to get him involved, or was he very enthusiastic?
No. I'm friends with Piero, first of all, before this project. So it was quite easy.
Okay, that's useful.
It was quite easy. Yeah. He came the first time that I brought the Impreza to Italy. I called him and we made a test together. I stood at the co-driver in the co-driver seat while Piero was driving, and I can tell you, you understand so many things, staying on the side of a pro that used that car. Amazing.
And you're very fortunate to have him. Very useful, obviously, having him as a friend. But because of his intricate knowledge, period knowledge of the car, must have been an invaluable resource right the way through.
Yeah, totally. But successful projects at the end are successful by definition because a lot of different positive coincidences, are matched together. So having the Subaru Rally Italy ex workers here, it is so important. Having the good connection in the UK, for example, with Autosportif, it's another point. Having good engineering in Italy, is another point. Having Piero is another point. Being curious, always, it's another point. Not having the fear to ask things in which you believe, it's another point that opens door. So all the things together, I think, made this project come to life.
Speaking of the Italian engineering side, is there much of a culture of continuation and resto mod projects in Italy? Because obviously in the UK there's quite a few resto mod companies, and I wasn't sure.
Yeah, but in Italy we have 2 major examples with similar cars that brought to life some projects which are very distinctive and different from mine, but everyone has very strong character. One is the Chimera 037, which is a road car, starting from the Lancia Beta. Another one is the Delta Futurista of Automobili Amos.
That's the 2-door one, is it?
Yeah, and he reinterpreted completely the Delta, and then there is a Giulia. They made it electric before, and then now they are installing the powerful Giulia Quadrifoglio engine, the B-turbo one, and then there is us. I would not consider the Mickey Biasion limited series of Delta because in this consideration, because he actually makes a light tuning of the car and put his signature, and he sells it, which is very good, but it's a different project, I think. Yeah, and then there is the P25, but it's in the UK.
Yes. I like the idea that someone in Italy was making an electric Giulietta, or Giulia rather, and presumably
You like the idea.
well,
I don't like it.
No. I like the idea that they were making it, and then presumably because of public outcry, were forced to put a proper engine in.
Yeah, you're not seeing many electric vehicles get replaced with a twin turbo V6.
No. And I can imagine to replace. I mean, that engine. I have a Giulia GT 2.0 liters Group 2 from 71, and I can tell you it has 189 horsepower. Okay, and with that power, it's even too much. So if you put 510 on that, you really have to build a completely new carbon chassis. Otherwise, I mean,
it'll just twist.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
The company I work for, Retro Power, we built a Giulia GT Junior with a Millington Diamond engine a few years ago.
Okay.
And that was something else. That worked, and it sounded great as well because of Millington Diamond. However, it wasn't universally popular, especially in Italy, purely because people thought it was sacrilege taking the original twin cam engine out and putting a Millington Diamond in.
Anyway, going back to your question, in Italy, I think we have a huge potential in and knowledge today. Some of the people that that have the knowledge are getting old, and we should save them in building up like motorsport district or something that I saw very well in the UK. We have the Motor Valley in Modena, Maranello, Sant'Agata Bolognese with Lamborghini, Maserati, and Ferrari, of course. De Tomaso at the beginning, Bugatti. And there the tradition is still very strong because they always continue to supply and to be in the industry. In the Torino area, it's sad. I feel sad because the globalization of the Fiat Group, which is absolutely ongoing, has made the closing of hundreds of small factories, and with the closing of Abarth at that time, yes, then there were N Technology and some other companies, but having at least one brand which is competing in officially makes the real difference. Makes the real difference. And there are still some spots, but they are far one to the other one. And the fact that the modern rallies modern races are raced with the cars which are already prepared by the brand, it doesn't facilitate a process in which you have to power this knowledge, and you have to invest in this knowledge in making things not in the old manner, but I went to Bicester Heritage a couple of times, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Every hangar is specialized in something different.
It's a cool place, isn't it, Bicester Heritage?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So yes, we miss that. We're missing that.
It sounds like there's potential for it to improve in that respect, though. As you say, it sounds like the passion and the engineering base is still potentially there if you act, as you are acting upon it.
Yes. No. Yes. We have some more than workshop. Companies that are really high end and very technologically advanced, and so on. If it was not like that, I wouldn't be able to basically to make some pieces that were really difficult to make and not available on the shelves anymore. So yeah.
And to go back to the car itself, in terms of you mentioned things like Piero's input on the dampers and things like that. Can you take us through maybe some of the selection process and some of the things that that do differ from the original
Yeah.
works car. Like you pointed out,
Yeah.
obviously you went to the Riegers, it had Bilsteins in period. So were you originally saying we'll put Bilsteins on it? Was there another damper in mind, or
Yeah.
what was the mindset there?
We started with okay. As far as the dampers are concerned, just to tell you something more about the original car. The original car had non-adjustable Bilstein. Okay, and the bars, the roll bars were interchangeable, as in best Impreza 01. But for example, if you go with a certain, and rallies now are much shorter than before, maybe only in one day. Okay, so in one day you cannot change 3 times the bars and 2 times the dampers. So at that time, if you have to change from a dry setup to a wet setup, it takes hours. Okay. Nowadays, you're not allowed. I mean, you can't do that. And with the Riger, which is adjustable, you can do that. Why the Riger? Because the Riger had already developed the metallic part that could fit with the original hubs. And then we gave them our standard configuration, okay, our standard setup for that could cover several different conditions, tarmac conditions, and we also developed a very quick change setup to be changed for gravel as well. So if you're not a pro but you want to keep the same dampers, you can do that with very minor modifications. Then I would say that the most important part regarding the engineering was brought to the electronic and the electric system. At that time, the original car was managed by James, developed in 92, 93. Okay, and there is no way to map those engines anymore, except and what we found out, we made a specific product from Cosworth, and we're using that. But that also the new design of the electrical and electronic system was really important to us, because if you make a mistake there, you have to redo from scratch. And starting as I did from zero, and putting all my money as an investment in making this car, mistakes were not allowed. So it was really So it was really important to evaluate correctly, and luckily and hopefully I crossed my way with very good engineers. Okay, and Autosportivo helped me a lot, and we developed together a new electric system, which is divided in 3 subsystems. Okay, so you have the engine part, the front and central shell, and the back of the car. And the data acquisition is independent, while in the original car you had some cards, and if that box doesn't work, the car doesn't work. Okay, in this case, every part is by its own. And secondly, the software gives you the possibility to download the data as in modern cars, so you can really see if you went over the revs, for example, and because you make a wrong gear change, and you can see immediately all the parameters in a clear way. Whilst on my original it was not like this, and the data acquisition today, using the original one, you should have a PC from the 90s, which it's almost impossible to find one reliable. And this was one thing. The biggest problem I had when we switched on the car the first time, which really made me feel, made me freeze, we say in Italian, okay. I pushed the red button, and the noise of the car at idle, at least, was like a good friend. It was
like disaster.
Which means perfect. It was perfect. It was perfect. Okay, that's perfect. A perfect sound. While we all know that at idle till 1500 RPMs, the boxer engine is roaring and rambling randomly. So I said, no, guys, this is no. What? No. This is fine. No, this is not okay, because we really have to achieve that. Once I push that button, I want to hear the same noise of my car, original car, which was then not a problem once you rev up, because then it's the real engine and the phase and the cams and the exhaust and the turbo are all the same. So that's not a problem. But at idle, I want that at least until 1500. So we went with a phonometric. We recorded my car. We put that on a computer. We saw the diagrams, and we finally understood that the original mapping was random, because the gems of that time was making calculation, okay, and there were, the capacity of the hardware was and the software was to put all the data where it was needed, not before. And before it was just random. So we duplicated that as well, and finally the result. I wouldn't have to say myself this, but everybody's saying they're just the same. They're just the same. And no kill, nobody noticed that. there was a difference. So I am pretty proud of this last percentage of achievement. Yeah.
Only rally fans will appreciate something like that, like going into that detail to create or replicate an idle which sounds to the untrained ear, there's something wrong or it's broken. They think you're a maniac for trying to achieve such a thing, but it's exactly what makes this car very special, that attention to detail, and achieving that perfect noise. Close your eyes and you're back as a kid watching San Remo again.
San Remo again, yes, exactly. Yep.
And was there any particular challenges in recreating other parts of the car, or stuff that you set out to replicate exactly as the works car, but then said no, it's not possible, or it's not worth it, or we can improve? I spoke to guys from Stable Fabrication at Rally Legend a couple of years ago, and they have that beautiful legacy recreation, and they said we wanted to do titanium wheel studs, but it was just wasn't worth the effort.
The difficulty came from the fact that every time you were considering an original part or piece, maybe there was still the original supplier that had the drawings and the right to produce that after years. But maybe he was not in the right conditions of making 8 pieces instead of 800 or 80, So that has been the most difficult part. Not only putting together the knowledge and the know-how, but also to be sure that people are following you and your project. Because when you go there and say, listen, I'm going to make a Subaru Impreza Coupe, they say, are you crazy or are you drunk?
Or both.
Okay. And when you start making the first one, and with the full media coverage that we are having, which I'm really proud of, because it gives the measure of how people are still passionate about this project, and because of the appreciation also to the quality, as you said, and to the full commitment, trying to do things at the best possible level. Okay, then this is a good way and a good tool to convince the one that I've not been able to convince so far.
Mm-hmm. And are you guys using, like the same differential ratios even to the original car, or have you made any adjustments in that? It's exactly the same.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. The car has, I'm sorry, I know it in kilometers, it's 198 kilometers per hour, which is 1/3
40s or
It's in the 30s, I think.
Yeah, Adam Thaler wrote it exactly on Evo magazine. Evo 300.
I think it's fair to say Adam was more than a little bit impressed with the car, to be fair. And rightly so.
And yeah, so the rear differential is a spool, so it's completely blocked. And this was the configuration for the work team. For private customer, there was also a possibility of LSD, like 25% LSD, but we kept the spool one, even though parking that at the supermarket is much more difficult because you jump like this when you have to make maneuver. And the center diff is hydraulic with electronic command, and same the front diff. So I decided to make the car in the latest configuration of 96, okay, with also the front diff, which is hydraulic with electronic control. But the ease of driving of this car is probably because of the suspension system, which is improved, and also the differential. I mean, but the very, let's say, the management of the differential can really make the difference in the approach of the car to your drive style. Okay. Once you find out which is, as I said before, I wanted to have a neutral car in the standard setup, but then you have 10 positions on the front and 10 positions on the rear diff with two maps, okay, like wet and dry. And when you move that, you can really feel the car going sideways more, being more aggressive or being less aggressive. And this is a huge plus, I think. Huge plus.
I mean, it sounds like the technology, and makes sense, has enabled you to have a sort of broader freedom in terms of dialing the car to suit different driving styles and making it friendlier for people who perhaps aren't as experienced or naturally gifted.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is a big plus, because when you buy a car like this, you don't want just to have the nightmare of driving it. You have to have the pleasure to drive it. And I can tell you, my original car, once you really get into it and you push, it's not easy. It's not so easy. It always it is always very aggressive. Stuff.
In terms of the 8 cars that are being built, has there been much variety in the spec of each car between one and another? You know, have different customers made different specification decisions?
Okay, but first of all, a rally car is like a customized dress. So you can really choose your configurations, and in the car you can choose the driving position where you want to have it. You can choose the setup of the suspension. You can even say if you want to have the lightest possible car, and then you have to put some loads to bring it to the minimum weight allowed, or you want to have tarmac and heavy gravel shell or a heavy gravel shell. So these possibilities are all possible, or options. And the rear diff, you can have LSD or spool, and so on. So there are plenty of choices. In fact, when you talk to the future driver of best Impreza, you have to spend at least 2 days showing things, letting him think about, and then going back, answering questions, sharing evaluations, and so on. And it all depends on the purpose that you want to this car for. Because if you want just to go for rallying, okay, of course your choices are driven in that direction. If you want to have it like a collectible car, because the big thing is this car is becoming a collectible car. Then maybe you go for easier technical solutions that allows you during the weekend to take out the car from the garage and make a run, with friends and so on. So yeah.
Hence the option of turbo restrictor size as well, presumably.
Yeah. Yes, of course. We start from the 38 mil or the 34 mil. And we are waiting for the FIA to let us know what will be the restrictor allowed for these years, knowing that the Subaru Impreza started with the 38, then was reduced. But then all the previous cars like Audi Quattro and so on are 38 or without restrictor. So we'll see.
I assume most of the ones you're selling will be 38.
Yeah, I would say yes. I would say yes.
So when can we expect to see some of these cars start to compete in historic championships in the next few years? Okay, so the owner of the first car is the European Rally Champion in charge of 2021, Andrea Zivian, with the Audi Quattro. So his rally debut will be at Rally Legend this year. So I invite everybody to come to Rally Legend, not only because there is the debut of Best Impreza, but because Rally Legend is something incredible, really incredible, one-off. And at Rally Legend, we will present car number 2, okay, and there will be the handover from the McRae family to the next owner. Wow. Yes. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. And in the historic, we wait for the FIA. It could be next year in some creating a special group for the Group A cars from 92 to 96, or it could be the year after, but letting them already race next year. So we wait, we see. But in any case, the car is eligible for modern rally with the 34 mil restrictor. So you don't have to wait.
Sign me up now.
Yeah. Yes.
And do you have any plans to maybe show off the car at a few more events around Europe or anywhere else to demonstrate the car's capabilities on different surfaces, different roads, or is that on the horizon at all for you guys?
Why not? I say why not because I don't have that in my plan. I got an invitation from Sainz to go to Asturias in September to show the car there. And we will see. Maybe that could be an event, but I'm doing things step by step, really. I don't want to, as I started the project, the first car was to go in my hand, but I sold it even before presenting the car. The second one is sold as well. And so I'm making a book in myself for one of the cars.
Well, just finally, actually, do you have which of the 8 cars would you most like to own yourself? Which
the Sanremo one. The
Sanremo,
of course. Yeah. Naturally.
But there is already another contender, and I could bend my knees in front of the business and making a copy. No, I'm just kidding, just joking. But yeah, I would love to keep Sanremo for myself if I can. If I can't, let's go.
You might have a battle on your hands to get it, I imagine, given the coverage the car is getting at the moment.
Yeah,
it could quickly disappear.
Yeah, exactly.
You can always show it off at the Donegal International next year or something like that, maybe in the historic section. That would be quite a display.
We have a project. I just came back from Redwood, California, where I meet with Isimi. And they have a beautiful project to create an event in Colorado next year. and their wish is to put together some car collectors from the US that owns a 037, S4, and so on, Audi Quattro, being also my Impreza, and putting them together in order to create a new tradition in the US, which I think is the right moment to do, because in the US now, the rally passion is really growing, and collection of important rally cars as well.
It's very interesting to watch, actually. It certainly is really, it's starting to really take its stride now, and older cars coming in there as well that were never seen, that never competed on that side of the Atlantic, which is great.
Yeah. And if you think that US is the only country in the world where Subaru is still competing officially, which for me, I mean, I don't want to comment this.
Yeah. We could go on too long here about that.
Yeah.
And I suppose before we wrap things up, Carlo, because I'm conscious of time, you mentioned earlier on that you always want to improve and make things better and not rest at leaving things done. So where does making this better come into play? Is there what's next? 8 cars are complete if you're only doing 8. Where do you go from there? What's the next project for you?
Oh wow! Next project for me. Wow!
Do you need to come?
I have already received a couple of even crazier requests, which I leave them as crazy requests.
Okay.
But no, let's say step by step. Can number 2 we start racing in October. Can number 1. Can number 2 will be delivered at Rally Legend. From the data I will collect from car number 1, there will be by sure some improvement to make on the following ones. So going down to the 8th, I think we are in the full process of making things better and making little improvements that then can be brought back also to the other cars. And this is one thing. I really like the idea of going to the safari one day.
Yeah, I mean, because the Impreza 555 only did one safari in work skies. Am I right in saying, was it only 96 that the 555 did the safari? I could be wrong, but either way, it'd be a good return.
Yeah, I mean, I think an Impreza prepared for safari would be very competitive in safari, in the safari,
And historic safari is getting more and more popular as well. So I mean, the right
crazy.
time.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I mean, the whole project is wonderful. I mean, like, your passion for it from the ground up is clear to see. Yeah, it can only go one way. It's going to succeed. Let's face it.
Yeah,
I hope so. Thank you.
No, thank you, and I think we have to thank you for as people that share a common interest. We can only benefit from more projects like this, and people with a desire to get more of these cars out there. Particularly, the timing obviously is right, which you've obviously taken into account, and as you know from experience with your own car, we want to see these cars competing in historic championships, but it is obviously quite difficult to do so with an original car. So we want to be seeing these cars, we want to hear these cars, and hopefully it's the start of more things like that to come.
Yeah. We do all want the same thing.
Absolutely. We're quite simple to please as rally fans in some ways. Maybe not when you get down to the nitty gritty, but we yeah.
Just add a boxer.
Yeah. Well, Carlo, thank you so much for giving up your time. I unfortunately won't make Rally Legend this year. Maybe next year. I've been twice, and I really do need to go back because it is an incredible experience.
This year will be huge because it's the 20th anniversary.
Yeah,
I need to go.
Which makes me not being able to go feel a little bit more sad, but things are clashing.
Okay. So thank you very much, guys, for the opportunity.
No
Thanks
problem,
for your
Carlo.
time, mate.
Thank you so much.
Well, that brings us to an end of part 2 of episode 2. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to our chat with Carlo. I know we certainly did, and Best Impreza is certainly a really special thing. So join us for next episode. For episode 3, we will be discussing some also rans and never rans of the Group B regulations. Thanks again for listening. Goodbye.